As global tensions reshape supply chains, critical minerals are moving to the center of national security strategy, with copper emerging as a key input in modern defense systems. Now, a growing debate is underway over whether Western supply can keep pace with rising military and industrial demand. At the same time, companies like NovaRed Mining are advancing projects such as Wilmac, aiming to contribute to future supply. Well, we speak to former U.S. Navy Commander Phil Eyre, now an advisor to NovaRed, about the strategic importance of these materials and whether North America is prepared. Commander Phil Eyre, thanks very much indeed for your time.
Hey, thank you very much. And for the last 10 years or even more than that, in accelerating, the importance of copper is more well understood. And the importance of getting out of the ground in a timely fashion, in a clean fashion, as best we can, is also part of making it happen. Great to be here.
Commander, you've written that modern defense systems, from drones to satellites, are heavily dependent on copper, right? When you look at the current demand from both defense and electrification, where do you see the biggest supply bottleneck emerging?
Defense and electrification, well, I don't, it's a combination of the chip manufacturing that drives AI and drives a lot of computing speed and complexity and just the power. But also, what is that power rested on? It's rested on the ability to use electricity. And the ability to use electricity is copper. I mean, that's not too far of a stretch. That's just core fundamental building blocks of a capability. So strategic mineral is something that the United States has started to recognize formally in formal documents that drives, the foundation of the importance of copper.
And I want to dig into that in a moment. But first, just very quickly, I mean, you joined the advisory board of NovaRed Mining, specifically on the Wilmac Copper Gold project. What do you see in that asset that made you think it has strategic relevance, not just commercial potential?
Oh, strategic relevance. It's in a safe jurisdiction. It reduces the United States and allied partners with the supply chain that is more controllable. Right now, the refining of copper is dominated by China, and there are a lot of copper refining is happening in Africa. We have friends in Africa, and we have competitors and adversaries in China. So we want to make sure that we have the entire supply chain from the ground, out of the ground, into refining, and then into manufacturing and weapon systems and civilian application with AI, civilian application with the upgrading of the electrical grid systems in the United States that are woefully behind. We need to catch up, and copper is key to all of that. It's durable, it's plentiful in the world, and it is can be brought to market. That process already exists. It needs to become faster, but it exists, and it's the building block for all of us.
It's interesting to speak to you because you've had operational exposure to conflict environments, right? When you look at the current geopolitical tensions, including the Middle East, do you see any early signs that supply chains for critical minerals are being strained in real time?
Well, they are. Look at the essential components of refining requires sulfur. A lot of sulfur exports, or a lot of sulfur is drawn out of the ground from countries like Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, UAE. Those areas north of the Strait of Hormuz that need to transit out of the Strait of Hormuz to refining areas wherever they happen to be, and that is part of the problem. Also, part of the problem of strategic problem is the choke point, the control that Iran now has as we speak here today. They're able to control the strait, turn on, turn off maritime traffic. That has a knock-on effect for all of us, including the mining industry. So that's the physical part of it, the direct, immediate physical part of the security problem. Longer term, this conflict in Iran has strategic failures for all of us across the economy, seeding the idea that a country can close off and regulate the strait of a place where we're having free trade through an international waterway is antithetical to all of the free trade around the world.
Yeah.
We have that in going into the Black Sea with Turkey. They own both sides of the Bosphorus, and wars are fought over that. And there's a big treaty controlling that particular waterway. Take that kind of thing or something worse over to the Strait of Hormuz, and the world is in a big hurting place for a long time. So this war is a strategic failure because of how we have chosen to prosecute it, and we haven't thought through the consequences. And the world is about to see an increase in prices overall and a further strong demand signal to get away from the hydrocarbons that are coming out from that region and accelerate electrification. Right back to copper. Copper is going to increase in its value because of that.
And I suppose the spotlight will then shine on the national defense stockpile, right? There's growing debate about whether it's sufficient for modern conflict scenarios. Based on your experience, is the U.S. adequately prepared on that front?
The U.S. is opening its eyes to many things. The U.S. defense industrial community is opening its eyes to drones. We've been doing that for a while. We've looked at the Ukraine and Ukraine, Russia, Iranian work on drones, and we are not bringing over that capability into our forces fast enough. We're getting there. So, with respect to copper, yes, copper has our attention, and copper is getting the demand signal and the production support in our formal documents and in the market.
Commander, I want to speak about a country north of the US here, Canada, often positioned as a key supplier of critical minerals to the US, but projects still face permitting delays, infrastructure gaps, for example. From a national security standpoint, is North America moving quickly enough to align on that supply?
Well, nothing is ever quickly enough. The demand is always there. Operationally, we need capability. We need capability fast. You want to launch an airplane, you need it there now. But we're building the fleet for the future, and we fight with what we have. So the answer is, frankly, no. But everybody's moving in the right direction. The British Columbia authorities are making sure that they have a good tie with the people of British Columbia and with Indigenous peoples to make sure that at least there is regulation to ensure transparency of mining operations, regulation to ensure consultation that is robust, and the companies like NovaRed are committed to doing that in that region where they have proven copper resources, where they have a supply chain that's already matured to get it to market as quickly as possible. So the permitting is made better and faster by government recognizing the link between the people and a successful mining operation. So that consultation piece is pretty key to the other parts, which are the physical finding it, extracting it, transporting it, refining it, and refining it and delivering it to manufacturers.
Let me expand on that. A project like Wilmac will still take years to fully develop. How do you reconcile that timeline with what you've described as a more immediate strategic need for these materials?
Well, I didn't mean to say that we have it sussed out and that it's all nice and rosy. It is not. We are behind as far as the delivery of copper into manufacturing, into weapon systems, into smart grid replacement of the electrical grid with smarter grid materials and lines that are filled with copper. So the things that government can do to help to increase it is to speed up the zoning approval process, speed up the way to connect with the people through consultation, to take on artificial intelligence and put it into the exploration piece, into the drilling decisions, and just get on with it. We have so much advantages with our geologists in our mining community that is embracing advanced AI in exploration, and NovaRed is doing that.
Yep. Commander, as a wrap up, for investors, there's a lot of noise around critical minerals. What are the one or two indicators that tell you a project is genuinely strategic and not just well marketed?
It's the gap between the supply and the demand.
Yep.
The fundamental. The demand is growing in the civilian market with electrification demands, with the electrification of our economy, and what we all know that needs to happen to reduce carbon emissions. It goes through a greater efficiency of using the electricity comes from whatever source, and it is the advanced weapon systems. The advanced weapon systems, directed energy, electronic warfare. That's my topic. That's my warfare study at warfare specialty. And it's also AI. This AI competition is like a moonshot, but here on Earth for computing and decision making. Having flown in the Middle East and having flown around the world in different conflicts over 26 years of active duty, I can tell you that the warfighter and all of us depend on having a qualitative edge in what we do. That qualitative edge requires a lot of things. And one of the glues that put it all together is copper.
Yep. Well, we'll leave it there. A former U.S. Navy commander and now advisor to NovaRed, Commander Full Air. Thanks very much indeed for talking to us.
No, I appreciate your time. All the very best.